President Muhammadu Buhari assumed office as the fifth president of Nigeria on May 29, 2015. He came into office with a promise to tackle insecurity, corruption, and boost the country's economy. It's been 8 years, and President Muhammadu Buhari will be leaving office in a few days. According to a recent report by the Nigerian government, President Buhari has achieved a lot in his 8 years in office. The president's administration has focused on providing basic infrastructure, enhancing security, and fighting corruption in various sectors of Nigeria. One of the president's notable achievements is in the agricultural sector, where his administration has been able to provide support to farmers. The senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, says growth in the sector has increased, leading to a boost in food production, an increase in local food consumption, and a drop in food prices, which has in turn contributed towards reducing inflation. This has led the country to become self-sufficient in food production.
The economy, as at the time President Buhari came, was standing on only one leg. Monocultural economy, standing on only oil. If oil prices went up, there is joy in the country. If it went down, then there would be agony. Today, as we speak, the economy of this country has been diversified. The ICT sector alone brings in a lot more money than oil. The agriculture in particular, we have recorded massive gains in that sector. When we came in, we had just 4 fertilizer blending companies. Today, about 52 are present and employing people. And they are producing fertilizer for an enlarged population of farmers. RIFAN, the Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria, claims that they have 12 additional members. This large population of farmers is producing rice, paddy rice, between 8 to 9 million tons per annum. And this has created the need for rice processing mills. Today we have more than 100 rice processing companies in the country. In Kano State alone, they have 62 of these 100. And these things are in Ebonyi, in Lagos, in Kaduna, Kebbi, Sokoto. Everyone is involved, including Ekiti and Lagos. So, as it is now, we have in effect achieved self-sufficiency in rice. Today, Nigeria rice is actually being sold in neighboring countries. And we no longer need to take money from Central Bank of Nigeria to fund importation. This importation was costing Nigeria $5 million every day to bring foreign rice. Today, Central Bank does not fund $1 to bring rice into the country.
On his promise to fight corruption, President Buhari has also taken steps to eliminate graft and impunity through the implementation of the Corruption and Financial Crime Cases Trial Monitoring Committee, which is aimed at investigating corruption cases and bringing culprits to book. Most notably, in his first year in office, President Buhari made several achievements, including the introduction of the Treasury Single Account (TSA). The president's administration also established an anti-corruption unit in charge of preventing financial crimes and related offenses.
On the matters of anti-corruption, another of the cardinal promises the president made, before he came in, the level of impunity was such that people would be caught with their hands in the till and you cannot even talk to them. They cannot be talked to. But today, there is nobody that is beyond reprieve. The highest mass person in the country's parliament had been prosecuted for corruption. Number 1 person in judiciary prosecuted and sacked from office for corruption. The 3rd most influential person in the executive arm of government is still undergoing trial. So what this tells you is that impunity is gone. And whoever engages in a lawful acquisition of public assets and property, they will pay for it. the standard has been set.
I also keep on telling the people that one of the areas in which he fought the anti-graft war is the TSA, Treasury Single Account. He did not invent that. He didn't. I will not come here to tell you that President Muhammad Buhari invented the single treasury account, but he implemented it. If you know how much that was saved from the federal coffers and the state coffers, by the fact that today, if you are paid as a contractor, or you are the minister or the governor, and a billion was released, unless it's not well traced, it's easily to be accounted for. Because from the day it was released by the CBN to the commercial bank or to whoever it is paid into, you will know whether actually what it was meant for was done.
Improving the standard of living has also been at the forefront of the president's administration. The government has taken active measures to create job opportunities, provide social services, and reduce poverty rates in the country. The administration has made sure that thousands of people have been employed in agricultural, infrastructure, energy, and manufacturing sectors.
And what happens during infrastructure delivery is that money trickles through the entire value chain. People make money, even if they don't come out to say, I am making money. So let's go through some of it. On the second Niger bridge, to construct that bridge, we're looking at 2,806 tons of cement. 2,806 tons of cement. Let me do the math for you. If 1 ton is 1,000 kg, divide by 50 kg per bag and multiply by this. You will see how many bags of cement is being consumed. Reinforcement, that is steel, 2,613 tons. Coarse aggregate, 14. So, coarse aggregate comes from quarries. Blasting, crushing, processing, 14,206 tons. Fine aggregate, 3,757 tons. Crushed stones, 8,684 tons. Bitumen, 761 tons. And diesel, 784,000 liters. But this is small. So let's go to the next slide, and I will just sum them up, just for you to bear in mind that those figures. So this is Abuja, Kano. Same thing, 131,000 tons of cement, 14,000 tons of reinforcement, coarse aggregate 217,000 tons. But look at the diesel component here, 13.8 million liters of diesel. And so on and so forth. So let me go forward again to the next one so that you just get a sense. This is Lagos, Ibadan. This is 34 million liters of diesel. Bitumen, 28,000 tons, crushed stones, reinforcement, and all of that. And again, Section 2, 45 million liters of diesel, bitumen, and so on. So what am I trying to tell you? What picture? First of all, see the aggregate total number of direct jobs. So these are 5,000 families, not just 5,000 of any nomenclature, people who are directly impacted that we can count. These ones are the ones who are the indirect employees. So who are they? Some of them are those people who supply the bitumen, the aggregate, the crushed stones. Julius Berger and construction companies don't keep those materials. What they have are their equipment and maybe their batching plant. Some of them own 1 or 2 quarries, but the truth is that when they need those numbers, is the subcontractors and suppliers. Femi Adesina and Sons, BRF and Co. All of you and Co. Enterprises Limited. Those are the small businesses that drive every economy in the world. Small law firms, accounting firms, engineering consultancies, those are the people embedded here. That is the supply chain where the money comes from NSIA and hits the road. We haven't started talking about the laborers who earn a daily living every day. And if you sample across Nigeria, daily labor alone ranges between 2,500 a day to, in some places, to 3,500 a day. So this is how the policy of the president reaches the street. Even though he can't meet those people directly, they're feeling the impact of what he's doing. So I just thought that is important. So for people who say, oh, Buhari is building infrastructure, is it only infrastructure? This is a major linchpin of the economic agenda of this country. Because first of all, right now, people are getting stuff to do. So if you go and analyze the GDP results sectorally, you will see that mining is thriving. Mining is under, quarrying is under mining. You will see that the construction sector is booming. This is part of the reason why. You will see petroleum products also booming. This is part of the reason why. And then we haven't talked about the food vendors. At each construction site, people must eat, and they eat twice a day because I interact with them when I go there. A plate of food before all this cost of living started rising significantly was about 2,500 a day, and they eat 250, sorry, and they eat twice a day. So some of the people I speak to there who supply food go home with, after cost, 5,000 naira a day as a food vendor. So this is a major economic driver, and I thought that I should speak to this part last, because we focus more on the road, but you will see the millions, hundreds of thousands of tons that affect the cement industry. So if you go to the cement industry, they are working at full steam. So people you and I know are employed there. If this isn't happening, they don't have that work. Now, each of these contracts has a bank guarantee for the money they get. So the banks are making, they don't give guarantees for free. So it's hitting the banks as well. Now, each of these contracts also has a 7% value-added tax component. So look at 700 billion and apply 7.5% on Abuja Kano. Look at 206 billion and apply 7.5%. When that VAT comes, collected by FRC, comes to the center, 85% of it goes to the states.
During the most difficult times in our country, when we had the COVID-19 pandemic, when we were faced with the Ukraine-Russia war and its impact on the economy, he said to me, make sure you pay salaries, make sure you pay pensions, prioritize key infrastructure such as power, road, water, and rail. And also, he says, make sure that people that are vulnerable are also provided for. So we follow his guidance. We meet with him from time to time, and he gives us his guidance and directive.
No, the thing to do is to process and add value before export. This is what most countries are doing. And this means that you are not beyond being a primary producer, you have to engage in manufacturing. And our relationship engagement with China is very helpful in this regard, because we are, in fact, the country is setting up zones, has been zoned into manufacturing specialities, so that in areas where it's strong, like for instance, in Sokoto, where they produce the country's largest quantity of onions, you see that attention is being paid to setting up companies that will process, that will dry it up and prepare it for export. So these things will take time. For example, Muhammadu Buhari has had a massive mandate for change, but it will be wrong to assume that all of the change that can be done in Nigeria can be achieved within 8 days. So manufacturing is the way forward. And I think we are not doing badly. If you see what is happening in the coastal areas, River State, Delta, Lagos, and particularly Ogun State now, everybody with the money from abroad, they are limiting themselves to those zones. So what the president is doing now is this thing about the AKK gas that they are doing, bringing gas energy from Delta to northern part of the country. The idea is make power available cheaply so that people with money and intentions to manufacture in the country will not just limit themselves to the coastal area, they will look to the hinterland, and prosperity will spread across the country. In addition to that, this country had suffered a massive shortage in infrastructure. Things that should have been done much earlier than now, because there cannot be national development without this question being settled. And this president has faced that issue squarely. He has done railways, roads, bridges, power. When he came in, availability to the nation was about 5,000 megawatts. Today we're at 20,000 megawatts. There are problems with distribution, and that is also being tackled. But so much has changed, and as we speak today, the president is getting ready to leave office. Ministers are clamoring for his time. Everyone wants to have projects commissioned for them, and there's simply no time. When we campaigned 2014-20, we were asking the people who had been in power for 16 years, can you show us projects that you started and they finished? And there was silence from their own end. Today there is a surfeit of projects. The president does not even have the time to commission. Third mainland bridge, the Lagos Ibadan, Kano, Abuja, Kaduna, Kano Expressway, Second Niger Bridge, airports, seaports, just name them. So we are satisfied that the president has delivered fully.
Then we go to the bigger issues of infrastructure in terms of roads. If you go across the whole country, yes, he had not completed that, but he had done much to roads that were abandoned over the years. I remember when we had a meeting at the villa with the Minister of Works, then Power and Housing, His Excellency Fashola. We insisted, Mr. President, is it not better you cancel the contract? He said no. That he spent about 5 to 6 months going through the whole files. That the federal road contractors cannot be punished because some of them were not paid for 4 or 5 years, some for 7 years. That the little money that comes to him and the little he borrow, you give them. When they now fail, he will judge them by the amount of money he paid them. And luckily, that paid off. Yes, some people wanted to benefit by being the people who will hire the contractors. He said the contractors are on federal government contracts. And because they are on federal government contract, it's not going to change the contractors. So since the previous regime awarded the project, it's going to go about what was awarded and by the procurement method.
President Muhammadu Buhari's achievements in security since 2015 cannot be overlooked, considering his administration implementing the initiative Operation Safe Haven to quell the insurgency in the northeast and reduce violent attacks in other regions of the country by providing security operatives with up-to-date equipment and technology. The president's administration has also tackled myriad security challenges such as kidnapping, banditry, and murder, and has also worked tirelessly to ensure the safety of Nigerians.
By 2015, this country had been divided into two. A big section of the country, the size of Belgium, had been sliced off this country's territory by Boko Haram terrorists. They had 17 local council areas out of 27 in Borno State, about 4 in Yobe and 2 in Adamawa. They called it a caliphate, an independent state in their view, with their system of administration, system of law and taxation. At that time, the only road into and leave Maiduguri is the one to Potiskum to Kano. All other roads leaving Maiduguri to whether Chad or what, they had been taken over by Boko Haram terrorists. In a nutshell, as we speak today, that territory, the so-called caliphate, has disappeared from the map of Nigeria. It's no longer existing. The major preoccupation of the Nigerian government as we speak today is the dismantling of IDP camps and taking people back to their communities so that they're already resuming agriculture, growing their own food. In IDP camps, they were being fed. People are being put back in their communities after the restoration of homes that have been destroyed, bridges, roads, schools, clinics, markets, including places of worship. All these things are being put back, and people are going back to resume their own normal lives. So as we speak today, Boko Haram is no longer a sustainable threat. It remains an occasional threat, and that too is being dealt with.
We cannot also talk of sophisticated military equipment. We talked of super cannon jets and sophisticated helicopters. They are not bought off shelf. It took diplomatic achievements for the United States of America to allow the contractors and manufacturers to go ahead to manufacture for Nigeria. It takes a number of years. And there was a time when the United States refused Nigeria to procure such equipment from them and other countries in Europe. So yes, there's still insecurity in the land, but it's a work in progress, because with those equipments, more will be achieved.
Many believe that one of the greatest legacies President Buhari is leaving behind was the approval of trillions of naira for the payment of outstanding pension liabilities to retired workers of federal government treasury-funded ministries, departments and agencies.
We are leaving behind the largest economy in Africa. Today, the MBS released its Q1 2023 GDP report. It means now we can say we have 13 consecutive quarters of growth. A lot of economies cannot say that they have that kind of privilege. There's an economy that is stable, and with the right fundamentals, we can actually make the corrections in key areas where we need to do more.
This is a question you will ask Nigerian pensioners. You know that on Abuja streets here, military and other pensioners were dying on queue to get money that ought to have been given to them. President Buhari has broken the jinx. He has made it possible that, people are being called to come and receive pension. For pensions that ought to have been paid years back. And we are finding that the real owners of the money had died. Their children had died. It is children, grandchildren, who are coming forward to take payment. But it is been, so we've cleared the backlog virtually in every respect, pension. But that is not the only thing for which Muhammadu Buhari will be remembered. I have spoken about agriculture, I've spoken about security, in all of the things he said he will do. Corruption today, if you do it, there is a consequence. Before President Muhammadu Buhari, people will catch you, you will take public money before our very eyes and you pocket it and nobody can talk to you. Today, nobody is a sacred cow. So he will go home happy, satisfied that he has done his best for the country. If he's not appreciated today, later, people will come and celebrate him.
When he came in 2015, not only that the economy was on the downside, but he checked all the files and discovered that state governors were owing salaries and pension to the extent that the pension and salary arrears in some states was 27 months, some 20 months, some 15, some 6. The first he did was to release about 1.5 trillion. as bailout fund. I remember I was in one of those meetings and I was saying, Mr. President, if by a law of proportion of 50 million per kilometer, that 1 trillion naira will do about 5,000 kilometers of federal roads, and that will give a better shine to our administration. He said, Mr. Osita, if you had worked as a public or civil servant, and the first month you are not paid, second month you are not paid, to the extent of 27th month, that impact is heavy on the general economy and the good people of the country. I said, sir, remember that the totality of the civil servants and public servants, their percentage is very infinitesimal to the 200 million Nigerians that we are presiding over their affairs. He said, yes, you must call it very infinitesimal. I do not call that. Because the average messenger who works eats, and his family also eats. So when you calculate the totality of the people he's borrowing from to buy bread for his children and his family, if you're owing him, you're owing those millions of Nigerians, the barbers, the meat seller, the carpenter, the repairer, the doctor, the pharmacists, and others in sundry, so that I should not limit myself to those ones.
Will President Buhari retire to Daura? Will he be playing chess, looking after his farm or cows? Here is what his SSA on media has to say on how President Buhari will retire after leaving office on May 29.
Well, President Buhari will finish and go to Daura. Will you be hearing from him? No, he wants to be as far away from Abuja as he possibly can. He doesn't want to meddle in affairs of government. He wants the successor to have an atmosphere that is free of any interference. Let Tinubu and his team also do their best for the country. President Buhari will not meddle. His farm is crying for his attention. He needs to go and put things right, reorganize the place, and see its continuing growth. I certainly know that he would enjoy games with his grandchildren. He likes to have them around. But he has done his best for the country. He needs a good rest.
The incoming administration, under the leadership of His Excellency Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has also been advised on what to do when they assume office.
This country, today we are saddled with a number of irresponsible people who take the new freedoms to cause trouble and mayhem. We have had intercommunal crisis in which tens of people have been killed on account of fake news. I hope that they will pay attention to this. It's a policy issue, and I hope that at the policy level they will tackle this.
There is also online, the one that will come to fruition in a few months' time, the Green Imperative Project, where 995 million euro were deployed and borrowed to bring all manner of farm implements, both ranches, that will be in all the local government of the country and in all the wards, and with their processing plants, locally for our own dear nation. There's no 1 square kilometer in Nigeria that is not fertile for one agricultural product or the other. So I think that is where the president-elect and his team, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, have to consolidate. If they do so, then the fruition of his efforts will come, because some of these foundations do not bear fruit the next day. So it takes a lot of time.
President Buhari's 8 years achievement in office has been described by many as remarkable, as he has introduced various initiatives aimed at promoting national growth and development. Despite the challenges he faced due to the decline of oil prices and mismanagement of resources under his predecessor's administration, Garba says the president's administration has done well in piloting the country toward a better future.